So you've probably seen those reports with the similarity scores, right? But what does a really, really high number actually mean? Today, we're going to pop the hood on one of these and investigate what's truly going on behind a major similarity flag.
All right, let's set the scene. Our case study is a specific report submitted way back in November 2020 by someone named Brown Joel Mel. We're going to use this one example to really figure out what's going on and get a feel for how original it truly is by breaking down the data.
And boom, there it is, right off the bat, the big number that jumps off the page. This report has a similarity index of 70%. Yeah, a number that high, it's definitely going to make you stop and say, whoa, what's happening here?
And that's really the core question for us today, isn't it? A number is just a number. The real story, well, that's always in the details. So where in the world does that 70% actually come from? Let's start digging.
Okay, so first things first. To get to the bottom of this, we've got to be crystal clear on what we're even looking at. That 70% is called a similarity score, but what is that index actually measuring?
Basically, what it comes down to is this. It's a measure of textual overlap. It's telling us that 70% of the words and phrases in this particular paper are a very close match to stuff that's already out there somewhere else.
All right, so 70% of the paper matches other texts. But a match with what? That number doesn't just come from one single source. To really get it, we need to peel back the layers and see exactly where all these matches are coming from.
Okay, now this is where the story gets really interesting. Just look at this breakdown. It is overwhelmingly driven by two main things. A massive 62% of the matches are from other student papers and another 52% from internet sources. And published academic works, a tiny, tiny 2%. That's a huge clue.
So let's just hammer this point home. The big overlaps, the vast majority of that 70%, are coming from more informal places, websites and other student assignments. It's not coming from formally published books or academic journals. And believe me, that distinction is everything.
So when we say internet sources, what are we talking about? Well, it's a real grab bag. You've got professional sites like Forbes, sure, but then you've got Q&A forums and even student help sites like Course Hero. This huge range suggests the matches could be anything from a standard definition to, well, something else entirely.
And it's the exact same story with the student papers. This isn't just an overlap with one other class at one school. I mean, this is global. We're seeing matches from the UK, Canada, Malaysia, New Zealand, all over the place. Now, that could mean it's a super common assignment, or maybe there are some very popular essays floating around out there.
So we've seen the big categories, but you know what? We can go even deeper. Let's zero in and find the top 3 culprits, the biggest individual sources that are really driving that number up. And here they are. Check this out. One single source, a student paper from Navitas Global, is responsible for a whopping 16% all by itself. Then you've got a website adding another 11% and Forbes chipping in with 5%. Just those 3, you do the math, that's a huge piece of the puzzle right there.
Okay, so we've broken down the numbers, we've pinpointed the key sources, we have all the facts laid out in front of us, but so what? What does it all mean? This is the part where we go from being data analysts to being detectives.
Now listen, if you take only one thing away from this whole explainer, let it be this. A high score does not automatically mean plagiarism. It's a big, flashing warning light, for sure, but it is not a guilty verdict. Context is king.
So you have to ask, what are the possible reasons for a score this high? Well, it could be something innocent, like using a lot of standard definitions or common industry jargon. Maybe there's a problem with the citations, messy quotation marks. Or it could be that the paper just leans really heavily on other people's work without adding enough of its own original thought.
And that's the bottom line. That 70% isn't the end of the story, it's the beginning. It's a signal flare that says, hey, a human needs to look at this. Someone has to actually read the paper and ask the important questions. Is this properly cited? Is the author just stringing quotes together, or are they actually building an argument? The machine gives you the clue, but a person has to solve the case.
When you step back from this one case, our little investigation points to a much bigger, more complicated issue. It's this originality dilemma that, honestly, pretty much all of us are facing today.
And this is really something to chew on. I mean, we live in an age where all of human knowledge is at our fingertips. We have to use it. That's how we learn. That's how we build new ideas. But where's the line? How do you stand on the shoulders of giants without just copying them? How do you find your own unique voice in all that noise?
That, right there, is the real question this whole thing leaves us with.